Hello, and when was the last time that you asked yourself, how did I get here? When you've reflected, probably in New Year's, probably in the middle of the year, you've asked yourself, you've taken a look at where you are today, and you ask that question, how did I get here? Well, that's what I'm going to answer about myself. My name is Raquel. Welcome to the podcast, Woman Inspire. And I asked myself that question beginning 2026. 30 years later, I'm asking myself, how did I get here? On a podcast, preparing YouTube videos, sharing the story of my life. When did that happen? How did I get here? Well, today I am starting my first episode of Woman Inspire, where the messages and the content that's going to be shared is going to come from my personal experiences, knowing and realizing that there are still women today going through challenges emotionally and spiritually. And 30 years ago, I had an encounter with God that changed the trajectory of my life. I did not, and I was not aware of how much my life was going to be different from where I could have ever imagined. So 30 years ago, I was married, had two daughters, still have them now. They're grown, and they have their own families. And it appeared to be, or it seemed like from one day to the next, I was a single mom. But before that took place, there was an encounter that I had with God where He overtook a moment of my Saturday. It wasn't uncommon for me to be at home and taking care of domestic things, doing my weekly ironing as I always did. And the presence of God overtook me. And I could only hear the presence of water, a stream just flowing. And I could see from afar that was getting closer was a clear, crystal clear stream. And I could hear as the water was flowing. Then before I knew it, I hear the voice of God deep in my heart. And there was a conversation that we had. He told me that, he says actually, it was more of an instruction that he gave me, and says, tell them that I am their first husband. And I answered, my response to that was, how do I do that? Because I am married. And he didn't answer that question. But what happened was I felt a calm and a peace that I would have never experienced. It was a presence, a spiritual presence that where I was not in the presence of the moment in my kitchen with the iron and the ironing board. All I knew is that I could experience, that I was experiencing a peace that surpassed anything I could ever totally understand. And I saw a field of flowers, just beautiful flowers, and with just beautiful colors. And before I knew it, I was back. I was speechless, literally didn't have any words to explain what happened. I was speaking in tongues, but I could barely speak. My body was shaking. And the only thing I could do is call my sister and let her know what had happened. But it took a minute to be able to just get the words out, to let her know, because I couldn't explain what had just taken place. 30 years ago, my life changed. 2 weeks later, after that, my husband leaves me. And all of a sudden, overnight, I'm a single mom and living in a house that we had just purchased. My life had totally changed. At that moment, I thought my life had ended, but in reality, it had just started. So when I look back and at that time and the things that I've actually gone through, I am big in journaling moments with God, moments in my day that where I get revelation, I hear the voice of God, I'm reading my script, I'm reading Bible scripture, and I'm journaling what God is speaking to me. And in these 30 years, this has been in the making. If you would have told me 30 years ago that I would even remotely think about being in front of a camera, sharing on YouTube, sharing my life on a podcast, it was just unimaginable, not to mention unheard of. Social media was not in what it is now. So that definitely was not going to, what was something that I could ever foresee in the future. I literally did not know how, did not know when, because God didn't give me that instruction. He simply let me know what my purpose was and what that was going to be part of my destiny. I just did not know what it would look like. I didn't have a framework for it. Have you ever experienced, you may be going through that now, where there's almost a sense of frustration that you feel because you know that there's so much more you have to do. You know in your spirit, you know in your heart, because you even have a desire to do that thing, but you don't seem to get that goal. You don't seem to have that green light, or possibly you're feeling that frustration in your spirit where you know that it's time, but you don't know where to start. The not knowing where to start took place 2 years ago, where I was beginning to feel that anxiety, that not a nervousness, but just a sense of urgency, that there was something more that I had to do. I knew what it was related to, but again, I did not have that framework. So when God gives an assignment, He doesn't give an expiration date. 30 years ago, I will be 62 this year. I would have never imagined that it would take so long. I didn't have a date. I didn't have a time. I didn't have a green light. But what I do have are experiences, mistakes, errors, bad choices, victories, accomplishments. I have a journal of 30 years where God was present in my life, guiding me along the way. He gave me a foundation, 5 things that He showed me, which will come through in these podcasts as we go forward, that where He was laying the foundation the first 2 years of my life that I was a single mom, that I was going to have to build on. So naturally, if God laid the foundation, then He would be the one to build it, but it was going to take my surrenderance to do so. And when God speaks, one thing I've learned, that when God speaks to you, when you have those encounters and God speaks, He is writing on the tablets of your heart. He is writing in your spirit the assignment for your life, and it never leaves you. You might reject it, you might ignore it, but it never leaves you. It's never left me. And there is so much more to do. I haven't arrived. I'm actually in the point of starting, of entering a new phase, a new season, of beginning what God had instructed for me to do. However, I was not ready 30 years ago. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the lessons. I didn't have the testing. But for today, the testings and the things that I've actually experienced, I want to share them with you. I want to hopefully help you not understand, but maybe help you not make the same mistakes that I did, maybe encourage you more than anything, to inspire you to desire a life of freedom, free from the bondage of traumas that we experience, free from the emotional and the spiritual distractions that we have in life that have maybe held you back, like I've been held back. There's been years that I have lost along the way, but God is my Redeemer. God does not ask do you want to do this? God doesn't say, I have an assignment for you. Raise your hand if you want to volunteer. He doesn't. Some things we do are voluntary, but there are certain things like the assignment when God shows up and says, this is what you're going to do. Mary didn't have a choice per se. He appeared to her and by way of an angel and let her know this is what you're going to do. And the Bible says that she pondered it in her heart. She didn't go share what God did, that experience. She knew what happened. And all she knew is that she was going to give birth to a son who was going to be the Messiah. She had no clue what it was going to look like and the suffering that was involved. And no, I'm not Mary, obviously, but like her are many women like myself who God has given an assignment, and maybe it's not time yet. You're still baking away. God is still working that in you. Maybe it is time, but you don't know how to get started. Or maybe you've already just taken off. And that's amazing. And you're going from season to season. And maybe you're stuck in a season. My prayer is that through Woman Inspire, that you will be inspired to continue to trust God, to walk in hope, and to walk in faith, because that word that He has spoken in you, just like He did to me, it does not die. It stays with you. And we have to be able to discern it. So I look forward. I'm excited for this first episode. There's going to be a lot of hiccups. I will give you a heads up. There's going to be a lot of hiccups because I do not yet know how to clip the bad parts. I hope there won't be any bad parts. It's not going to be live. I am going to pre-record it until I learn how to do the snipping and the clipping. You'll be getting what pretty much comes out. The only change maybe that I'll make, I might just toss that one away and re-record it. But I want to have fun in what God has called me to do, and that is to share what He gives me. I don't want to be stressed as to if it's a perfect film or not. I want to make sure that the messaging gets to your heart and gets to the people, to the women, the men that need to hear it, and that there is transformation. So if you are asking yourself, how did I get here? Where did time go? And where do I go from here? Tune in, because I plan to bring the teaching that God has given me through life experiences to impart wisdom to you as God imparted wisdom to me. So I ask that you join me. My plan is to upload a new video every Thursday and to share the topics that God has given me. I have those planned, but whatever the messaging is, it definitely is with the purpose to inspire you to become whole God's way, emotionally and spiritually. So welcome to Woman Inspire. My name is Raquel, and I look forward to meeting you and to seeing you and to spending time with you morning, evening, noon, or night, wherever you are, that you tune in to the podcast. My prayer is that you will be blessed and that transformation will be your portion in that moment. God bless you.